you guys, welcome back to my channel for another video. Today I'm sitting down to share with you guys my end of the year book recommendations from my kids. And I've done this video year after year after year after year. So grab your pen and paper so you can take down any titles that you hear my kids recommend for your homeschool or for your children in general. I want to thank Hiya Health for sponsoring today's video. More on Hiya here in a second. So as you guys know, if you've watched this video years past, what I do is I print out a reading log from my website. These are available for purchase. You download it once, you have it forever. I've used these year after year. My oldest daughter has one as well, but with her being in college this year part-time and working part-time, her reading log never made it to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and film this video without hers. But what I will do is I'll have my kids fill in their assigned reading for school. These are assigned chapter books that they are reading that are assigned by me. But as many of you guys know, if you've watched this video years past, my children are voracious readers. They read a ton of books. These lists don't even have every book that they read this year on them. These were the ones that they could recall to memory. I also have them rate them on a 5-star to 1-star scale. Obviously, this is going to be extremely subjective, totally based on their personalities, their interests, their likes. So truly take it with a grain of salt. But these are my kids' recommendations. I do not give them any feedback. I don't say, oh, that was a great book, adjust that rating. I don't say any of that. So my kids also, because not everybody watches every video and some of you might come across my channel with this video being your first time. My oldest daughter is 17. She is a junior in high school. My son right below her is turning 16 this June, and he is a sophomore in high school. My son behind him is in 8th grade. He is turning 14 this summer, so he was 13 as he was reading a lot of these titles. And then my youngest daughter turned 12 this school year, so 11 and 12-year-old girl. So these are their reading logs, and we are going to go through their lists. I also have to the right of me my book basket. This is where I put books that we have read through the school year into this basket. This basket is for our community books. So some of these titles on my kids' list are their own personal books that they got as gifts or they purchased at the bookstore. Those books are on their shelves in their room. Those books will not be in here. These books that are in here are either community books that are mine that go on our homeschool shelf, or they're books that I assigned my kids to read, and that is why they are in here. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, also in here are read alouds. But on that note, this year was the year that I really had to prioritize time. Like I said, my oldest daughter was dual enrolled in college this year. We're dealing with a junior down to a 6th grader. And so reading aloud chapter books really wasn't something that I was able to prioritize this time. Now, that's not to say I didn't read aloud to my kids, because I read aloud to them every day through our Bible studies, through our apologetic studies, through our history lessons that are read aloud for my younger 2 kids. And then there were some read alouds that we did do, but just not as many as we've done basically every other year in our homeschool. And I'm okay with that, but I just wanted to let you guys know. So I think that's everything. So get your pen and paper ready. I am going to read you off the list. I could not collect all of these books. I mean, there would be close to 60 to 100 books. So I'm just going to give you the titles, and then you can write them down and look them up if that is something you wish. And then I'll go through what is in this basket. So like I already told you guys, Hiya Health is sponsoring today's video. I absolutely love Hiya Health. I give my kids their children's multivitamin every single day during morning time. It's a part of our morning routine. routine in our homeschool. I walk around, I pass them out. I love Hiya because there is no added junk into the multivitamin. There's no sugar, there's no dye, there's no gross stuff that you don't want your kids getting while you attempt to give them the things that they do need, like all of those micronutrients that most kids do not eat enough of to be able to have the full amount that their growing bodies need. So that is why I love Hiya. Another thing that is awesome about Hiya is the fact that their glass bottle that comes to you is totally reusable. So you're only refilling that one glass bottle, cutting down on waste, and those vitamins will show up at your doorstep like clockwork, so you will never miss or run out and then go a few weeks without. Multivitamins, supplements are always most effective when we take them regularly. So if you guys want to check out Hiya Health, I'll have a link down below. You can save 50% off your first order with them through my link. There's no code needed. It's just that link down below, and that'll get you that automatic 50% off. We absolutely love them and are so thankful to have them as a part of our morning routine, nourishing my kids' bodies and their minds so that they can read all of these incredible books that I am about to share with you. So make sure you guys check out the links to Hiya Health down below. Let's jump in and talk about all of these books. Okay, so before I run you guys down my kids' reading lists, are you ready? This is a lot of books. We are gonna start in my basket here to the right. Okay, so this year I did science units from The Good and the Beautiful with my youngest daughter, and then one of the units, the Health and Human Mind one, I did with all of my kids. Now, the book packs that you can get from The Good and the Beautiful, to every science unit is going to vary on the additional book pack, but this is the one that goes with the Health and the Human Mind. All of these books I highly recommend. They were amazing. And so, like I said, I didn't read aloud a ton of chapter books this year, but I obviously read all of these to them, and so these were fantastic. I really recommend them. If you're doing The Good and the Beautiful science units and you're not using the optional book packs, you're missing out. The other book packs that we had were from Kingdoms and Classifications, read through those, as well as chemistry, which is, I still have some books downstairs in my cart that we are finishing up, but more book pack read alouds from The Good and the Beautiful that we absolutely loved. Next up in here, I have this book right here. This is Facing the Facts. This is a book for ages 12 through 16. It's number 4, I think, in a series of books about God's design for sex within marriage, and this is like the last one. So this book right here is going to be most appropriate for those ages that it says, 12 to 16. My youngest daughter was definitely getting more information at the age of 11 and 12 than my oldest daughter did, who is now just learning this information for the first time between 16 and 17, some of the information, not all of it. But I really recommend this series. I wish I would have known about this series when my kids were younger, because there's a book called like The Story of Me that's for 3 to 5, Before I Was Born 5 to 8, What's the Big Deal 8 to 12, Facing the Facts 12 to 16. So it's kind of like a build up, and I love that they make it like an ongoing conversation, because sexuality, purity, your bodily functions, like all of that is so important, and it's so important to not make it a scary taboo topic that can lead to a lot of different problems. There's safety information. Highly recommend this series, and as you can see, this was a chapter book that I did read aloud to my kids this year. So definitely grab this. I'll link to this one directly down below. I really think it's great. And would make a very good morning basket type book. Although jumping into some of these conversations fresh after having my coffee is a little like, wow, here we are. But we got through it, we read it all, and I was really grateful for it at the end of the day. Let's see what else I have in here that I read to all of my kids. This one right here was a sequel, Candy Makers #2. So last year I did a book club and we read Candy Makers, there's some dust, as a part of the book club. So this year I was like, oh, it'll be fun. They loved the book club. Let me read the sequel to them. And my older kids were really struggling with this. So I ended up just giving it to my younger daughter to read, and she absolutely loved it. So you'll see that on her book list. But this is a really fun read aloud for younger kids. I would say like 12, 13. My older kids are very, very critical of books, and if it's a little too cheesy, if it's a little too the plot doesn't really, it's got a lot of twists and turns that aren't logical. Some of my children really struggle with that, but my younger daughter really loved this book. So I would recommend this one. And if you haven't read the first Candy Makers, then definitely you should do that. Another read aloud that we read this year that we are just now finishing up downstairs is the book called Marie Curie from The Good and the Beautiful. It came with the chemistry book pack. And we all really loved it. Like, I love learning more about people. I love learning more about their lives. And that was a book that my older kids definitely enjoyed more. So I would recommend that one as well. And another read aloud that I did with my older two kids is the Answers in Genesis book #2, Creation and Evolution. I should have grabbed it, but it's from Master Books, and it's a great book. It's a thick book, but it is a great book, and so I've been reading that one aloud with them. So now I'm going to jump in and give you guys my kids' recommendations, some of which the books are in here. It's going to be hard for me to try to grab them all, but I will do my best. Okay, so starting with my oldest son, who I told you guys is turning 16. He's 15. He is a very avid reader. So one of the books that I had him read this year from our history curriculum was The Scarlet Letter. He gave that book a 1 star. He did not enjoy The Scarlet Letter at all. He felt that there was a gross overuse of the word bosom and breast, and the book was just not for him. Then he read the biography of Frederick Douglass. That was also a part of our history curriculum, which I do think, yes, that one is right here. Here is The Scarlet Letter. So he read this biography. This came with our Knotgrass curriculum, U.S. history, and he really enjoyed the Frederick Douglass book. He gave that 5 stars. He rated another book called I don't know how to pronounce this, Coaytch. It's Coaytch, 4 stars. So he enjoyed that as well. Then for some of his personal interest reading, he read a book called Fahrenheit 451. He says it's a classic, totally true. He gives it 5 stars. You can see through his taste, he loves like the science fiction, dystopian kind of genre there. Maze Runner books, 5 stars, but he specifically wanted me to tell you guys, do not read the sequels. The author went through some things and the sequels are terrible. The language is terrible. My son is very, very strict with himself when it comes to like the moral conduct of his books. He will not read anything with profanity or any sexuality in it. So he wanted me to mention that. He read a book called Walk Across America. He gave that 5 stars. He read so many Star Wars Legends books. He read about 30 of them and he gives them all 5 stars. He read another book called this one right here, How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth. He gave this 5 stars. This is not necessarily for kids. This is more for adults, but I knew he would really enjoy it. And so he gave that 5 stars. He read The Road 1 million or 1,000 or 100,000. I can't see how many zeros he wrote. He said, very sad, but great with a good message. And then he also read Tuttle Twins, True Conspiracies, which is right here. My younger son also read this and they were just blown away. Don't read this if you're not along these. If we don't run along the same vein, it will just upset you. But some very important critical thinking here. And Caleb said it was mind-blowing and he gave it 4 stars. But he said he loved it. He's just a tough critic. Those were his words. Moving on to my next son, who is or was 13, turning 14. Some of the books, again, he read as a part of our history curriculum. I didn't read them as read-alouds. He read them, you know, for himself. So the first one is, let me find it. It is Fables, Aesop. He said this was quite a weird book. All right, so here is the Fables of Aesop that he gave 3 stars. Again, this was a part of our history curriculum, and so he read that on his own. He next has this book right here called The Bronze Bow that he gave 5 stars. He loved this book. Our history curriculum this year was from basically creation, ancient times, and so this book he loved, and I loved that these books were books that he would not have heard of on his own. He read another one called A Single Shard right here. He gave this book 3 stars. He read Otto of the Silver Hand. He gave this book 3 stars. He wanted me to caution you that there is some violence with losing a hand in this book, which is very sweet. He was funny. He said, I don't want you to recommend the book and then the homeschool moms get mad at you. And I said, well, thank you, son. He read The King's Fifth. This was also a part of our history curriculum. He gave this 4 stars. He enjoyed that one. He read another one, still a part of our history curriculum, Madeline Takes Command. He gave this one 3 stars. He read a book right down here called where is the Golden Goblet? I know it was in here. I saw it. Well, where is that book? I don't know where it is. Anyway, he read the Golden Goblet. He gave that 3 stars. He read, oh, here it is, Golden Goblet, 3 stars. He read this book right here, Tumbleweed Thompson. Now we're transitioning from historical books, although he does love that genre, into some fun reads. He gave this 5 stars. He loved this. He devoured this book very quickly. Tumbleweed Thompson, he loved it. He read Cimarron Kid. Right here, this was kind of like the sequel to that, Dead-Eye Dan and the Cimarron Kid. He gave this 4 stars. For his language arts curriculum, he did the book studies From the Good and the Beautiful, and so he had to read a book for every single one. He gave The Story of Helen Keller 2 stars, not a huge fan. He read Abraham Lincoln. He gave this 3 stars, not a huge fan. And he read Wild Like the Foxes, again, 3 stars. Not necessarily his most favorite books. He also read this Tuttle Twins Conspiracy, 5 stars. He read this historical fiction book right here called Allies. He gave this 5 stars. He actually read this in 24 hours. He read a book called Fatal Alliance that I do not have a copy of. Republic Commando series, 5 stars. The Ascendance series, 5 stars. He read all of the Hunger Games books, Ballad of Songbirds, Hunger Games series, 5 stars. He read Thomas Jefferson and the Tripoli, or Tripoli, however you want to say it. He gave that 5 stars. He read Rise of the Rebellion, 5 stars, The Glorious Cause, 5 stars, and he just read also this book right here called Glitch that he gave 4 stars. So he's got a good mix of some historical readers as well as some fun books. So now on to my youngest daughter. All right, my youngest daughter, who turned 12 this school year, 11 to 12, she read The Golden Goblet. She gave it 5 stars. She also read The Fables of Aesop. She gave that 3 stars. Those were the same ones you just saw from my son. She also read this book, The Money Book for American Girl. She gave this 1.5 stars. She was annoyed that I made her read that book. She read a book called 20 and 10. Right here, she gave this 3 stars. She read Tumbleweed Thompson as well. That was a book that I just showed you with my son. She also gave that 5 stars. So boy and girl right there, you might want to check out that book. They both loved it. She read Fever 1793. She gave this 5 stars. She read The Tiger Rising right here. She gave this 4 stars. She had to read this old book, Little Lord Fauntleroy, for her language arts, and she gave this 2 stars. She read Farmer Boy from Laura Ingalls, and she gave this 3 stars. She read the entire Vanderbeeker series. There's, I think, 6 or 7 books, and she rated them all 5 stars. She read a book called The Secret Door. She gave that 5 stars. The Hidden Room right here. Okay, so these are all of the what is this series called? Badger Hills from The Good and the Beautiful. This series sold out, but they were like a mystery series, and I knew they'd be easy reads for her, but I knew she would love them. She gave them all 5 stars. She read Bridge to Terabithia, which she gave 5 stars. She read The Land of Stories, the first one. She gave that 5 stars. The last in the series, The Wild Robot, she gave it 5 stars. She read all of the I Survived graphic comic books. She gave that 5 stars. She also read Glitch right here. She gave that 5 stars. And she read Nobody's Princess. She also gave that 5 stars. She read Dear Mr. Henshaw and Encyclopedia Brown. She gave these 3 stars. So you guys, I think that about sums it up. I wasn't able to collect my oldest daughter's book list. She has been so busy this year. She's been doing a lot less reading for enjoyment, and that is just me being completely honest with you guys. She used to read a ton before bed, and now she's just so tired from getting off of work, she's just going right to sleep. However, she did do some assigned reading for school. She read Uncle Tom's Cabin. That was a historical reader that I know she enjoyed. She read all of James Herriot's collection. I know she enjoyed that. She read, for fun, all of the Hunger Games series. I know she enjoyed that. She read a book called Caraval. A friend lent it to her. She read the first one and I allowed it, but the second one, it got really heavy with romance and stuff, so I said we're not going to read that. She was super bummed, but she enjoyed the first book. She read this year, she's reading Kristen Hanna's Nightingale, and I know she's enjoying that. And so, yeah, her book list is a little bit shorter this year just because she has been a busy girl. So I hope you guys got some book ideas from me, some good ideas, just hearing my kids' feedback. I hope you are able to come back to this video several times if you need to. I want to let you guys know I will link to my Amazon storefront where I keep a record of most of these books. Most of them are on there. The older ones, you'll have to scroll to the bottom. The newer ones that I've just added will be at the top. And make sure you guys check out the links to Hiya Health down below. Don't forget, you can save 50% off with that code. And I think that's gonna be it. I hope you got some book ideas for your kids and your homeschool next year. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I know I go fast, but I've got a lot to get through. Like I said, this wasn't even all the books, and there was probably like 120 titles I just threw at you guys. So hopefully it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.